Welcome to the Backwater tutorial for Vigilance Order in Combat. Backwater is a Southern Gothic horror tabletop role-playing game in the style of survival horror. To play Backwater, you need a character sheet, the quick start guide or core rulebook, and dice. In this tutorial, you'll learn about Backwater's turn order system, named Vigilance Order, or VIG Order for short. GMs can use this turn order system for combat or any other situation that requires turn taking to make sure that all characters are included. You'll also learn about the different types of actions and moves that a character can take and when they can take them. The Backwater game system normally allows players to role-play without structure. However, GMs can use VIG Order, a turn-based structure, when multiple characters need to act simultaneously. This makes sure that all characters are included. A common scenario where this is necessary is in combat. Vigilance Order is structured into rounds, each of which lasts 5 seconds. Characters take turns moving and acting in these rounds according to turn phases. Each round has 2 turn phases, the movement phase and the action phase. Each character completes their movement phase in the designated turn order, and then they proceed through the action phase in the same order. The turn order for player characters is typically determined by their vigilance goal score at the start of each session, proceeding from highest to lowest. Other characters can be added into this order as needed. Although a character's vigilance goal score determines their turn order, a character can elect to use a vigilance roll, which is 1d20 plus their vigilance modifier, instead of their vigilance goal. In a tie, the character with the highest vigilance goal goes first, and if the vigilance goals are the same, the player should roll to determine their order. In a round, the first turn phase is the movement phase. A character can speak and move in their movement turn phase. The character can move so many feet up to their movement speed. They can also speak and take free moves, so long as they take fewer than 5 seconds to do these things, and they may also be able to make a special move. The second turn phase in a round is the action phase. A character can perform either 1 action and 1 blitz action, or 2 blitz actions in their action turn phase. The character can also speak and take free actions, so long as they take fewer than 5 seconds. As I already said, a character can speak and move in their movement turn phase. They can also take free moves, and they may be able to use a special move. In terms of movement, the character can move so many feet up to their movement speed. A free move is a perfunctory act that a character performs freely in their movement turn phase. It could be a simple object interaction, like opening a window, blowing out a torch, dropping an item, and characters can speak and take as many free moves as they can reasonably fit into 5 seconds, along with any other movement they make. In their movement turn phase, a character can also expend 1 resolve point to take a blitz action as a special move. This blitz action counts as one of the blitz actions in their action turn phase. Outside of their movement phase, characters have only a few other options for movement. In their action turn phase, characters can also move by sprinting as a blitz action or fleeing as an action. When it's not their turn, a character can move as a counter move in response to a missed melee attack. In a character's action turn phase, they can perform either 1 action and 1 blitz action, or they can perform 2 blitz actions. The character can also speak and take free actions so long as they take fewer than 5 seconds. As an action, characters can defend, flee, or perform a skill roll to achieve a task. A character assumes a defensive position when they use the defend action, so when a melee or ranged attack hits them before their next action phase, they can choose to make a reflex roll instead to avoid the attack. They have to make this roll before the game master declares damage. When a character uses the flee action, they can move a distance equal to their sprint speed without invoking counter maneuvers until the end of their turn phase. And a character can use any skill roll as an action. For example, they can attempt to hide from their enemies with a hide roll. Characters can also use skill rolls to perform maneuvers and attacks. Maneuvers are actions in which a character makes a stunt skill roll against another character's build goal for a desired effect. A character must declare the type of maneuver they want to perform and a target within 5 feet, and they can choose from one of the following maneuvers: disarm, restrain, shove, or trip. You can learn more about these in the core rulebook or the quick start guide. Most attacks are melee or ranged skill rolls with the intent of inflicting damage. Attacks are rolled against a character's reflex goal to determine whether or not that target takes damage. Threatened attacks are threatened skill rolls with the intent of inflicting duress. They can target any one character within 30 feet and make a threatened skill roll against the target's intuition goal. In their action turn phase, characters can also take a blitz action in addition to an action, or they can take 2 blitz actions instead. They cannot take the same blitz action twice in one turn. As a blitz action, characters can aim, sprint, strategize, and switch between equipped weapons. A character may also have abilities or objects they can use as a blitz action. When aiming as a blitz action, the character gains +1 to their melee and range rolls, and missed melee rolls do not invoke a counter move until the end of the round. When sprinting as a blitz action, a character can move a distance equal to their sprint speed. And when strategizing as a blitz action, a character can redetermine their position in the turn order with a lower strategy roll. When it's not their turn, a character still may be able to move or act through a counter action. A character can take up to one counter action before their next action phase in response to specific events. Counter actions include counter maneuvers and counter moves. A character may also have abilities or objects they can use as counter actions. A character can make a counter maneuver when target character leaves the range of their maneuvers without using the flee action. A counter maneuver allows this character to attempt any maneuver against a target as a counter action. Maneuvers include the trip, disarm, restrain, and shove maneuvers. When an enemy misses a character with a melee attack, that character can make a counter move, so long as they did not sprint as a blitz action on their last turn. A counter move allows a character to move in any direction equal up to their sprint speed. Let's put it all together so that you can see Vigilance Order in action. In this scenario, there are two characters, a Gore and our heroic warden, Adelaide. Before the session begins, the Game Master and players determine Vigilance Order. The player role-playing as Adelaide elected to use her Vigilance score, which is an 11. This makes it easy for the Game Master when they enter turn order after Adelaide stumbles across a Gore in the woods, because they can easily insert the new character into turn order without pausing the game. In this instance, the Game Master adds a Gore to turn order, whose Vigilance score is 14. Because the Gore's Vigilance score is higher, it gets to go first. Now that they're in VIG order, the first round begins, starting with the movement phase. The Gore has a movement rate of 35, so it can move up to 7 squares on the grid, each of which are equal to 5 feet. It does so, but cannot quite reach Adelaide. The Gore cannot speak, but it does growl hungrily at Adelaide, and then it picks up a rock from the ground as a free move. That's the end of its movement turn phase. To recap, the Gore used its movement and picked up a rock as a free move. Now it's Adelaide's movement phase. Adelaide is better at ranged attacks, so she wants to keep her distance. She has a movement rate of 25, so she can move up to 5 squares on the grid. She knows that this is not enough to escape the Gore, so she also elects to make a special move. A special move allows her to use a blitz action early in exchange for 1 resolve point. With her blitz action, she commands her wolfhound Finn to come defend her with a whistle. Adelaide was at 12 resolve points, and now she's down to 11. Animal companions act on their owner's turn, so Finn can use his movement now. His movement rate is 25, or 5 squares, and he positions himself between the Gore and Adelaide. Now it's the action turn phase, and we start at the top of the turn order with the Gore. In the action phase, characters can either use an action and a blitz action, or 2 blitz actions. The Gore can see that it's outnumbered now. As an action, it'll throw its rock at Adelaide as a parting shot, and then, as a blitz action, it'll sprint, deciding to fight another day. To make an attack, it rolls a d20 plus its range proficiency and aptitude modifier, which is +2 in total. It rolls an 11 plus 2, which equals 13. Range rolls are made against the target's reflex score, which for Adelaide is a 12. The rock just barely hits her. So, now, the Game Master rolls damage for the Gore. The Gore rolls 1d8 plus 2, which turns out to be 5 damage total. Adelaide reduces the damage according to her armor score, which is 1, and then subtracts the remaining damage from her health points. She had 12 health points, and the Gore dealt 4 damage after her armor, so she now has 8 health points. Then the Gore sprints away 20 feet as a blitz action. That's the end of the Gore's action turn phase, and it's now Adelaide's action turn phase. For her turn, Adelaide decides she only wants to fire an arrow as a parting shot. She also already expended her blitz action as a special move during her movement phase. She knocks one in her short bow and makes a ranged attack as an action. She rolls 1d20 with +1 ranged proficiency and +2 aptitude. She rolls an 11 plus 3, which is a 14 total. The Gore's reflex score is also 14, so she fails to hit the Gore. Finn could act in her action phase as well, but does not, because the Gore is retreating and he was commanded to defend her. That's the end of our sample Vigilance Order. If combat were to continue, we'd begin the next round, starting with the movement turn phase again, and then proceeding to the action phase until combat ends and Vigilance Order is no longer needed.